paranormal. It surrounds us. It's everywhere. Tonight, you will hear from the people who live and work within these highly active locations, all in the efforts to discover America's most haunted. With your host, ghost hunter and author, Dan Terry.
Good evening, boys and ghouls. I am Dan Terry, your ghost host with the most haunted. And Halloween. I hate it when it's over. Man, it's so much fun getting there. But, I know over the last 2 months, I've really been hitting the ghost stuff hard. And I got a guest that's a little different. Not that there ain't ghosts involved. It's just a little bit on the different side. A intuitive, sensitive. She's trained in Reiki. She has seen Bigfoot. She has seen UFOs. She has talked to the dead and still does on occasion. This started when she was 5 years old. Apparently, it scared her to the point she was hiding from the people that she was talking to. She dreams of talking to the dead. I just don't think I could handle a life like that. I've told you all that before. I've got very good friends who see dead people. And boy, I don't think I could handle it. That would just get to me. Michelle now helps terminally ill patients without charge, but she helps them to cross over more easily, which I think is a very noble cause. She is also the founder and the manager of Sweet Home, Oregon Sasquatch Research Group. So, guys, we're going to be talking about the dead a little bit. Bigfoot, UFOs, Reiki, and all brought to you by our guest, Michelle Heaton.
Hi.
Hey, Michelle.
Hello.
That's a long list of things you've had done or happened or seen, but tell me about your youth was you talking to the ghosts when you were awake, or was it only when you was asleep? Was you seeing them?
Yeah, it was, well, I would see them, but I would only talk to them when I was sleeping. I've always ever done any of my work in my dreams.
Okay.
That's when I go to work. When I go to sleep, I go to work.
Well, tell me how that works out.
Yeah, it's random. I can't control it. I occasionally do call on people. I'll sleep with some selenite underneath my pillow or something, to kind of help draw that energy. And yeah, I don't know.
Well, let's get down into what happens when you're dreaming like that and you're seeing people. Do you know them immediately? Is these people you've known in life?
Yes.
Okay.
I would say 95% of the time it's people who I know in life, or people who are living that are getting a message from somebody who I don't know. But
okay.
They'll bring the person who the message is going to, they'll bring that person into the dream. I just had one the other day for one of my friends. His sister, I had unknowingly, she had passed away about 4 months earlier. And I did not know that. And she came to me and she brought him with her. And she said, I found paradise. She wanted him to know that she found paradise.
Okay, so was he also dreaming this at the same time? Or is this something she was just basically letting you know who she wanted to get the message to?
Absolutely, because I'd never met her before. I'd never seen a picture of her. I didn't know who she was.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's how she associates. And that's happened before. So, yeah.
So how did you let this guy know what happened?
Through friends. I was talking to one of my friends and he was talking to this other person at the same time. I said, tell him I saw his sister. And she said, I found paradise. And then he had texted my other friend back and said she didn't even know that she passed away. I haven't spoke to her in like 5 months. So, yeah.
Okay. Was he relieved when he got the message? Was
I
he
don't
happy
know.
about it?
I haven't spoke to him. He's not typically a woo type person. So it was completely random. I hope that now maybe he understands a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Let me throw this one out just for I want to get your opinion on it.
Mm-hmm.
I was speaking at a conference. My wife and I was there. It was in Illinois. And a guy was talking actually about animal spirits, but he kept staring at our table. And eventually he said, "All right, I'm sorry, but I'm getting a message for someone at this table." And he went through and he finally figured out it was my wife. It was coming from her father, who had passed away not that long before.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy, who had never met me or her in any way, was verifying this with things that I didn't even know about, things that's never been written down about her dad, just things that, like I said, we were married and I didn't know all this.
Wow.
Now, he wanted to get a message to his wife. And the message was basically, well, he kept saying, "I'll take care of it," which was a phrase he had used in life a lot. That was also verifying that it was coming from him. But she didn't want to and never gave her that message because she was afraid it would cause her problems. Now, you think that was the right thing, the wrong thing? Does it depend?
Yeah, I guess it just really depends on the person. If they don't want to receive the message, they don't have to. And we don't have the right to force it upon them.
Well, in this case, her mom on occasion would fall into a religious mania, especially after someone died. And she was afraid to cause anything like that to happen again or to bring her any pain. Mm-hmm. So she just never, ever brought it up. She believed it. She had no doubt. She was telling me what all these meant.
Yeah.
And they were this guy even come down to who was in the hospital room when the old man passed and where they were sitting.
Wow.
So it was really a good one.
Mm-hmm.
But I never could, just because I think it would be up to me to actually do something for someone who passed, and she chose not to. I was curious what your opinion is on that.
Yeah, I mean, as far as like what receiving the message or
the fact that she didn't pass it on.
That's okay. I mean, it's up to who. I totally understand why she wouldn't, and that's okay. So it just depends on the person, really. Okay. It's not, there are, I guess when you give somebody a message, you're just a conduit, right? So you're just giving them a message, and then whoever you give that message to, it's for them to do. Maybe the message was really for her. Maybe it wasn't for this other person. Maybe it was a confirmation,
Mm-hmm. That could be.
Or maybe she will later bring it up,
Well,
when the time is
now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Her mom passed. Yeah. But,
I'm sorry.
So I just wasn't sure how you would see that. I mean, to me, it was not given to me, and it was not my family. So I don't know, but I would myself think
she did the right thing. She did what she felt was right. So.
All righty. Well, if you had a message from the other side in which you didn't want to give it because it was bad news, it was somebody saying, "My God, it's hot down here." I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I've never gotten a message from hell that I know of. So I work a lot with my spirit guides.
Okay.
And while I'm sleeping, and I know my spirit guides, my most pivotal message that I received was actually for me. Um, I had a best friend, as we all do when we're growing up, when we're children, and her family is very close to my family.
Okay.
And so like our families are just intertwined forever. And she had passed away at a fairly young age. She was in her 40s, and it was unexpected, and it was really sad because it was right before I had my daughter, and I had planned on, she had planned on meeting my daughter. So
Of course.
it was really tragic. But so she had come to me a couple of times to say, hey, I'm here. I love you. I miss you. I'm sorry. I see you, and I see your daughter. So fast forward a year after she passed away, she came to me one night, and she was the atmosphere was just a little bit different. It was a little more intense, like it was more meaningful. And so I asked her, we conversed, and then I asked her, I said, why did you come? And she said, I came to get Mom. And I was like, okay. So that morning I woke up, and instantly I had gotten online and gotten a message from her sister that their mother had passed away that morning. So I had already known it. So yeah. So that for me, that was just like, I've known my whole life, what's been going on, but that particular instance was for me to like maybe boost my confidence in what I'm doing. It helped me a lot at the time, because I was like, maybe in a place where I was kind of feeling like, you can't tell everybody all this stuff because they won't get it, or they don't believe you, or, stuff like that. But that gave me confirmation that, yes, this is happening to me, and this is real.
Okay. When you were a child, apparently what you were seeing and sensing was scaring you.
Yeah, I was frightened. I've always been really, really jumpy. I spook easily. All my bosses think it's funny. I always had an administrative job, so they were always speaking up behind me, in the office and stuff. But yes, I'm a really jumpy person. And I actually attribute it partially to the things that I experienced as a child.
Okay. And what kind of things was you experiencing that might cause that?
I would see stuff all the time. It seemed like every night when I would go to bed, I would see shadows, and I would see little dark shadow people standing at the edge of my bed. I would see, like, I guess you can call them ghostly type figures, coming from above. I would see so many things, and I would tell people, and people would be like, oh, it's just your imagination. Suck it up, Buttercup. So I sucked it up, and I didn't realize until after one of my girlfriends from high school, we were 15, and she had passed away, and she had come to me after she had passed away to tell me that she was okay. And that's when I started actually getting messages.
Okay.
So I would see things, and I would dream a lot of stuff too. Like I was having dreams about Bigfoot when I was 5 years old. So, but up until then, until I was 15, I didn't really start receiving messages. And then most of the time too, throughout my teenage years, it was just messages from people who had passed who loved me. They just wanted to come back and say hi, and, let me know that they were okay. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's, like I said, it's an experience I don't know if I would be able to handle.
It's rough. Yeah.
I bet.
There was a time when I was in my 20s, and I had a premonition. I don't have premonitions too often, but when I have them, they're very strong and they're very scary. That's probably why I don't have them very often, because they do scare me,
Okay.
but I had a premonition that there was a car accident, and I knew somebody who was in the car accident, and it scared me so much. I called my mom and I told her, I said, you have to go down to this intersection and find out who's in that car, because it was the same car that my ex-husband was driving.
Okay.
And she did. She went to the intersection and she looked and she found out it was the same car, same color, everything, but it wasn't him.
Okay.
So, and that was frightening. So I asked at that time, I asked my spirit guides, I can't do this anymore. It's too stressful. It's scaring me. Just please stop. And everything stopped for maybe 4 or 5 years until I actually asked it to come back. I said, okay, I'm prepared. I'm ready for this. I can do this. Come back.
Okay.
And when I asked for it to come back, it came back.
Michelle, if it was not your ex and there was nobody in the car that you were familiar with, why do you think you got that premonition?
I don't know. I don't know. Because it had already happened. I mean, I got it as it happened.
Okay.
It was like as it happened, I was seeing it happen. And I knew it happened before because I lived in a really small town and it was about 2 miles out of town. And I knew about it when it happened. And then after that, when I went to get on the phone with my mom, then the sirens in town went off. So I knew about it before the fire department got notified, you know? So, yeah.
A friend of mine, his name is Tim Clifton, and him and I have worked together for years. In fact, we worked together again a couple of weeks ago when I went back to Missouri. And his parents, because he was seeing folks who had passed on, actually put him in a mental institute when he was a young man. I mean, very young. He was a small boy. Turned out his sister was also seeing it, but she wouldn't say anything because she saw what they did to him. His mom was seeing it, but she was afraid of his dad. So did you ever have an issue where you were afraid to talk about this?
100%. I actually grew up in a family where some of us are sensitive. I have aunts who are sensitive, an aunt and a great aunt. And I remember them telling me all the time, don't talk about it. Don't tell anybody. Don't, because people are going to think you're crazy. Some people will get it and some people won't, but the people who won't will try to damage you.
Okay.
So
I understand that.
Yeah. And I actually haven't publicly spoken about it until this year. I finally found a community where I felt comfortable enough to, just let it out. Cause I feel like I have enough people backing me up to make me stronger, to make me feel, better about it. So
do you think this is becoming more mainstream now?
I do. I think so. Yeah. I think we're finally out of the age of the TV psychic, and we're that was difficult. And we're starting to be more, everything is more personalized now. We're individuals, and like I said too, finding community is really important.
Let's move on to your UFO encounters and your UFO sightings.
Yeah.
What started that, or was it part of the dreaming process also?
I think it started the dreaming process. I was 5 years old and I lived in Michigan. And I remember very specifically that it was when I was 5, because that was 1978. I don't know if you heard about the snowstorm that they had in the Midwest in 1978.
I was living in Missouri in 1978.
Okay.
I think that was the year we didn't go to school for like a month or something.
Yeah, we got snowed into our house for 2 weeks at least. Yeah. So that's how I remember that it was that year. That summer before the snowstorm, I was with my aunt and one of her friends, and we were in the front seat of a pickup truck, and we were driving away from my house, and we were maybe a mile down the road or something. I don't know, fairly close. And it's just cornfields there, in the lower part of Michigan.
Yeah.
So we're driving past a cornfield, and there's this silver disc hovering over the cornfield in the air, so close you could see it, obviously what it was, So we stopped and got out of the truck, and I remember asking my aunt, "What is that?" And she goes, "It's a UFO, Shelley." And I was like, "So cool." So fast forward, that was the same year that my dreams about Bigfoot had started.
Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, we were really close to it, whatever it was, the thing that was hovering over the field. It was really close to the ground, and we were very close to it. So that year I started having those dreams, and I remember because I had a dream during the snowstorm.
Okay.
Yeah. And they were reoccurring. I could have them every night of the week. I could have one a month. I could have one every 3 months. It was just very sporadic, and it was the same thing every time. And it was just, do you want me to explain?
Yeah, please.
So I was standing in an old house. I remember it didn't have electricity because there was oil lamps on like a buffet. And it had a screen door, a wooden screen door, and a big front porch. And I was looking out the picture window, and I would see the Sasquatch walk up onto the porch and open the door, and he would have to bend his head down to go through the door. And he would come in, and he would stand there, and I would get spooked, and I would turn around and run out the back door. And I'd run down the stairs, and I'd run out into like a hay field, like wheat or barley or something.
Okay.
Something that was tall, but not as tall as corn, And I would run into the field, and every time I would turn around, he would be just right there behind me, walking behind me. And, because I was, and in my dream, I was always small too. 5 years old. I never grew up in my dream. And he was so large, all he would have to do is walk just to keep up with me, So yeah, I had that dream until I was 19 years old. And finally, I remember I had the dream one night. I came downstairs from my room, and I sat down at the kitchen table in the morning, and I looked at my mom, and I just said, "I can't do this anymore." And I just started weeping. I said, "I'm stressed out. It's making me anxious. I don't want it. I don't need it." So she called my aunt, and my aunt took me to one of her psychic friends, Nancy. And we went and we talked about it, what it could be, and, this and that, the interpretations of it and whatnot. And she said, "Well, why don't you just ask him to stop scaring you? The next time you dream, just ask him politely, please stop scaring me." So I did. I went home, and that night I didn't have the dream, but the night after I did. And that night, I remember when he came in the door, I kind of beckoned him over to me, and I took a really deep breath. And he come up to me, and he got really close, and he got down in my face. And I said, "Will you please stop scaring me? You're frightening me."
Okay.
And he stopped. So after that dream, whenever I would have a dream, he would stay outside behind a tree, squatting behind a tree. And he would peek around the tree at me and look at me through that front picture window. But he would never enter the house. He wouldn't get close. He would never leave from behind that tree. He would just stare at me, That
has a lot of questions to it. Was he coming into your dream, or was he sensing your dream and there to be part of it?
I think, well, now, 50 years later, nearly, I think I finally figured out the puzzle.
Okay.
So I believe it's a calling. Because when I got here to Sweet Home and I started researching Sasquatch, and I found the clan of Sasquatch that I was looking for. And I had telepathy with one of them.
Okay.
And he said, I'm the one in your dream. I've always been protecting you.
That
and
thought
then
crossed my mind. Yeah.
it made perfect sense to me because he's always been there. And here I am now,
Right.
And I have this relationship with the clan or the tribe, whatever you want to call them, up here in the mountains. So.
And have you seen them? Do you see them often in real life, or is it strictly a sensitive psychic thing?
Well, I've seen them in real life.
Okay. Them, though.
Not very many times, but so I started actually visualizing them, seeing them this summer, and I've seen them 3, maybe 4 times. And it's crazy because a couple of the times that I saw him, it was like he just appeared from out of nowhere.
Okay.
Like he just walked through a portal or something, You
think that's what they do? Why we can't find them?
I do now because I've seen it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't have thought that before. I really thought that they were, just flesh and blood animals. They've been here. They're archaic. You know what I mean? But now, after what I've seen, I'm convinced that there's just a multitude of information that we just don't know and don't understand.
Okay. Michelle, I got to stop us for just a minute, run a couple of commercials, and then I'll be right back with you. So would you hold on, please?
Yes.
Guys, I've had Lena on here. I've had Tim and Teresa. They're all friends of mine. They're all people I've ghost hunted with. They're all people who have this power, but at least for them, or this ability or this curse. But for them, it was a waking thing. They walked into the place and seen or sensed or heard or whatever. And the dream thing I could kind of understand more, but it for me would be a series of nightmares. But that's just me. And let me show you something that to me isn't a nightmare. Check this one out.
The Onyx Network presents a health and wellness spiritually based brand of hemp-derived CBD products made by Hopewell Farm in Harrogate, Tennessee. We apply our Cathara energy work with all of our plants and products. Our products made in small batches with only 2 ingredients of pure hemp, full-spectrum crude oil, and coconut-derived MCT oil. Third-party lab tested for potency and legal THC levels with 6 strengths of 1 ounce oil to choose from. Know what you're buying and get what you pay for from Hopewell Farm. Applied directly to a specific area, Hopewell Farm topical salve in 1 ounce and ½ ounce sizes made with pure hemp crude oil, comfrey extract, and all natural ingredients. Find the Hopewell Farm link and coupon code on the Onyx Network website at onyxnetwork.com. That's onyxnetwork.com. The new book, How to Research a Haunted House by paranormal investigator Margie Kay and professional researcher Violet Wisdom, is now available from Onyx Media. This one-of-a-kind book explains how to do research on a house with uncommon methods and resources used by historic home researchers, and how to determine who may be doing the haunting and why. How to Research a Haunted House can be used by homeowners, renters, investors, and it should be in the library of all professional paranormal investigators. Get this unique book at unxmedia.com or amazon.com. That's unxmedia.com or amazon.com.
Okay, friends, at the end of the show, so stick with me at the end. We are going to discuss the Onyx Network and and all the things that's available there. There's big changes coming, which I'm not going to talk too much about yet. It's starting at the first of the year. I can't tell you we're no longer, and this is going to take me forever, calling it the UNX Network. It's the Unexplained Network now. And we're going to get some new shows in. We've got all the good stuff coming. And over the course of the next few weeks, I'll tell you more about it. But right now, I want to get back to Michelle because I'm enjoying this conversation. It's something totally different. And Michelle, like I said, I've got friends who have seen this waking, but I can't imagine having to go to bed each night wondering if you're going to have a nightmare. And to me, I don't know about you, it's a nightmare to me.
Yeah, totally. When I was a kid, when I was younger, in my teens, my 20s, I told you, before I had the premonition of the accident, I always saw them as maybe not a nightmare, but not always something that I look forward to because they were startling, And sometimes people would come to me looking like how they looked when they passed with their injuries, things of that nature. So it wasn't always pretty. But I think, especially after I got control of my main dream that I was having, after I had the talk with the psychic, then I realized that I had more control over it. And so now, fast forward to now, I look forward to it. I look forward to talking to people in my dreams because I know it's going to be a pleasant experience. There's a purpose, and I'm excited to help,
Okay. The lady out of Kansas that I've ghost hunted with in the past, one time she was doing I guess you call it a gallery reading at a conference I'd spoken at. And she's doing her thing and suddenly said, Dan, are you in on this? Are you in play? Is the way I think she worded it. I said, sure, Lena, go ahead. And she described my mother to a T. And if you see me, you would never guess what my mother looked like. I'm my dad. But she described the dress she wore back in I guess it was late 60s, early 70s when I was a little kid. But she always wore the same dress to church and to special occasions.
Wow.
Do you have that ability? Have you been able to talk to someone and convince them, yes, there is something on the other side and your family is there?
Well, most of the people who I talk to already believe it.
Oh, okay.
And when I talk to them, they're just like, a lot of people are my friends from childhood or high school. So when I come to them with a message, they're like, okay, cool, thanks. They just kind of expect it from me, I guess,
Okay.
Because they know me. They know that I've been, doing this forever.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And like I said, too, I can't control it. And I don't get, especially when I'm in a crowded place, I would probably never be able to connect to spirit because crowds really freak me out.
Okay.
And I think it's because of the energy. There's just too much of it,
Okay.
And it's high, it's low, it's vibing here,
Sure.
It's vibing there. It's just too much for me to be able to handle. I can't sort that out.
And my friend Tim, he called me up here one day because he just had an experience. He had to share it with me. He had went into a Walmart in another town from where he lives and said him and his wife were in there and they're in the hallway in the aisle. So there was a man about almost 7 foot tall. He was wearing overalls and he was dripping wet. And he looked at me and saw that I could see him, and he came at me screaming, demanding that I leave. And he kept yelling at me. He said, I had to tell my wife, go ahead and shop. I have to get out of here. And he walked on out and said the thing followed him yelling to the door. Have you had an experience like that of any kind where you saw something that was actually disliked you?
No, had really pleasant experiences. I've actually had an experience where I worked in a doctor's office, and there was a therapist that had an office right across from our office, and she would use a white noise machine outside her door so that nobody would be able to hear her conversations. And I always heard stuff talking to me through this white noise machine. It was funny because it'd be like, Michelle, I'd be on my way to the bathroom and it'd say, "Hi, Shelly." So it would say, "Oh, see you soon." That was one of them. And come back.
See you soon would bug the heck out of me.
Yeah. So I remember one time because I would have to walk by there to go to the bathroom. And so I was constantly walking by it and hearing stuff. And I walked by it and it said something, I couldn't make it out. And I said, "Tell Grandma I said hi." And I went to the bathroom. I came back and it goes, "Hi." And all it is, it's just a white noise machine. It's not, it's not a radio or anything. So,
but we use those kind of things in ghost hunting, as I'm sure you know.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. That was like my forte was ghost hunting, just probably because I just had the connection to the dark side, to the things that were already gone.
I was going to say, is it the dark side or just the other side? Because what you've described, I've not heard anything I would call dark yet.
Right, exactly. Yeah, not dark in that way. Dark as in like dark, but yeah, and the other side, beyond the veil.
Okay. You sent me a video of something. Now, you said you thought it was a spirit orb. I'm looking at a UFO, in my opinion, but what do you think?
It could be. I believe it's an orb because it looks like the orbs that we see in the tree line up here when we're looking for Sasquatch. And we see them all the time. Here in Sweet Home, this is an area where there's been reports of these orbs for 20, 30 years.
Okay.
And probably beyond that. I just haven't researched it. And I've seen them. I've seen large ones that were as big as a car on the ground. And I've seen smaller ones that were, the size of a crystal ball. So, yeah. And they pulsate like that. Like the video. And most of the time they're blue.
Well, let's watch the video and you can kind of tell us what's going on. Well, actually you narrate it as you're doing it.
I do.
So.
Yep. I came back out to see if it was still there. And it's still there in the same spot, doing the same thing. And it's really cold out here. So I'm going to go back inside. But I'll be back.
How long did that last that evening?
That evening, it lasted probably about 5 or 6 hours.
Wow.
And that was one of the things why I could tell it wasn't actually part of the sky, like it wasn't a satellite or anything like that, was because the reason why it looked like it was moving was because I was moving my hand. Yeah. It stayed in the same spot for that long. And I think I went out at it must have been about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and it had finally disappeared. But I checked it periodically. I would keep going out and looking, and it was still there, still the same distance, the same brightness, the same pulsing, everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
You sent this, which is this the same night or is this a similar?
It's the same night. That was the longer video. That's like 4.5 minutes long. And that's the first one that I recorded. Okay. The second one, the one that you had just played, that was a while later when I went back out to check on it one of the first times. Yeah.
Okay. Well, while we're on the photos, let's check out a few of the others. We've got
Yeah,
what
that
happened?
photo. I love that. That's one of my favorite photos because I took it in the crypt in Virginia City, Nevada.
Okay.
And all the pictures that I took were really clear. And I was with my daughter's father, my boyfriend at the time, my daughter, and his father. And
Okay.
none of them they're not into the same things that I'm into.
I get it.
We felt a really cold burst of air, and I turned around and I was taking pictures, and they felt it, and they were like, "Oh yeah, no, we're out of here." But that was the picture that I took, and you could tell they're not. It's you could just, I don't know, I can't explain it, but it's so different than all the other pictures that I took at the time. And they're not even moving really. I mean, his dad's just standing there. You know, it's kind of like a portal kind of, I don't know, but it's really cool.
Okay. And this one we talked about earlier. This one freaks me out just a little bit. What's the backstory on this?
So the backstory is I wanted to investigate the dungeon underneath one of the courthouses downtown in Charleston, South Carolina. And the only way that you could do that was by taking a ghost tour because they weren't going to let other people down there. So me and my ex-husband went on a ghost tour so that we could go into that dungeon and investigate it. And we were down there. We went all the way to the back of the dungeon. And there's no windows like going outside because you're like in a basement. It's like a dark dank basement, you know. And so we're behind the crowd. There's probably a crowd of about 15 people or so, including ourselves and the tour guide. And the tour guide's talking. And then I felt something whisper in my ear, and I couldn't make out what it said, but it said something. I felt the wind in my ear. I felt something brush up against my face very gently. And at the same time, my hair just went like that, like it flew out. You know, all my hair was down at the time, and it just kind of flew out. And my ex-husband saw it because he was standing kind of behind me. And so I grabbed my face and I turned around and looked, and there's these parts in the dungeon. There's these little room areas that are kind of blocked off, and they're blocked off with the original chains that were on the ships that came over from Africa.
Okay.
So each chain link is about 20 pounds, right? They're really heavy lead chains.
Okay.
So these chains are blocking off these areas, and they're all over the place. And I look down at the one that I'm standing next to. I'm probably about 7 to 8 feet away from it. And it just starts swinging back and forth really hard, like just from a dead stop, you know, to just swinging. So my ex-husband saw it. And by that time I had gotten everybody's attention, like everyone in the group. I'm like, what's going on here? And everyone was looking at this chain, and my ex-husband ran over there and stopped it, and he let go of it. And just as he let go of it, it just started swinging again. So the tour guy said, okay, that's our cue to leave. You know, and I'm like, we're on a tour. I know, that's what I said.
Yeah.
I said, aren't we on a ghost tour? And she's like, I think we should go. You know, I'm like, what? I wish I had your job, lady. So everybody turns around, you know, and of course we're going to follow behind everybody because we're taking pictures and this and that. And so this picture is one of the pictures that I took. And from what I remember, it was like a jail cell door, you know, with the bars in the window, but the window was boarded up. So you couldn't see into the room, right? And this is the result of that picture. And it blows my mind. I see an African person standing there in the window.
and I can see what you're seeing. And we talked about this before the show.
Mm-hmm.
There's a face over that one.
Right.
There's like a second person and maybe even a female looking out above him.
Yeah. Yep. And one off to the left there, peeking around the side a little bit.
Yeah. I've seen that one. We like I said, we discussed those earlier, but
yeah. Well, the story with the dungeon is they used to keep criminals, slaves, pirates, and just other, people who they just didn't want walking around the town.
Was this the custom house?
That actually might be. It was right next to the slave market.
Yes, I've been in the basement of the custom house. They used to have mannequins and pirate outfits.
Yeah.
And at some point during a hurricane, it flooded. I think a bunch of the prisoners drowned because they were chained down.
Yes. Right. Yep. I've heard that story.
Okay.
Yeah. There was mannequins. And so, the rooms where the chains are.
Yes.
Yeah. Blocking off the stuff. And then they'd have like haystacks there and mannequins sitting on them and, doing chained to the wall and stuff. Yeah. Yeah. So this door is the door, right? You have to turn left there. And then when you turn left there, you go up the stairs and go up out of the basement.
Okay. That's an incredible photo.
Mm-hmm.
Because I see what you're seeing, but I see two others also.
Yeah. Yep.
And this.
So this is exciting for me. One night I was driving home from my research site and I saw two Bigfoots on the side of the road, one right across from the other.
Mm-hmm.
And I came around a bend in the road and I was probably going about 40 miles an hour and I saw their eyes and they were big and they were red and they were glowing. And so I came to a dead stop. Basically, I slowed way down, crept a little bit, and then I stopped. And so I was probably about 50 feet away from them, and I just studied them. And, and finally creeped up. I saw the one was over here on the passenger side of the road behind a tree. And then the other one was down in a ditch with his head sticking up out of the ditch, staring at me. And he locked eyes with me as I'm driving by about 5 miles an hour. My windows were rolled down. I was so intrigued. Danger didn't even cross my mind. I was just like, what is this? But anyways, so I had that experience. I drove between them. I was 10 feet away from each one, and I went home. And I came back at 6 o'clock in the morning, like I told my research partner I would, because I never break a promise. And when I came back, I checked, and there's footprints there.
Okay.
So all the, everything that I expected should have been there was there. And that was one of the footprints. I couldn't do a casting of it because that is it's like moss and leaves, and it's super deep.
Okay.
It's much deeper than it looks.
And this one, we talked about this one earlier.
Yeah. So that's actually in an area where we see orbs.
Okay.
So I believe that that's a portal. There's the two spots are right across from each other. The one in the center is more round. The one off to the left.
Well, let's talk about the one in the center.
That's what I believe is a portal.
Okay. And then I see a round circle with something in the center that's almost eye-shaped.
Yeah, I know. It's really weird, isn't it? Yeah.
Okay. And why would you think this was a portal? I have photographed what I believe are portals, but they were always long vertical lights there for no reason.
Yeah, I don't know. Just because I thought it might be, but you know what though? If the other part hadn't have been there, I wouldn't have thought that. I would have blown it off as lens flare.
And the other part is over here on the left.
Yep.
And that one.
So that one, looks to me like somebody coming out of a portal, and it actually looks exactly like the black shadow people I see in the forest. I have seen them, and my research partners, 3 of my research partners have seen them.
Okay.
And me and one other one, we were together when we saw them. So, yeah.
So it almost looks like a ripple, like you said, like somebody stepping through the Stargate on the old Stargate show.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. It was crazy. And I wouldn't have thought that if the 2 hadn't been in the same picture. There's something about the 2 of them being there present at the same time that is meaningful. I don't know what it is. I'm not a physicist, but I think there's something meaningful about that.
Okay. And do you have any way, did you try the spirit guides and say, what am I seeing here?
No, I haven't asked them.
It's a thought.
Maybe I should.
They know more than I do. So
yeah, they'd probably just say, "Oh, you know what it is." And I believe it's a shadow person. I believe it's somebody coming out of a portal.
I've seen plenty of them. I've dealt with a lot of them. I don't prescribe to them being demonic or evil.
No.
But the ones I've seen are usually watchers. They're just watching.
Yeah, that's what we call them too. We call them watchers up in the woods because they seem to be around when the Sasquatch are around and during the day. So because we believe that Sasquatch are nocturnal, right? They're out at night, they hunt at night and everything else. Well, maybe these shadow creatures are watchers for the Sasquatch while they're sleeping during the day.
Okay, well, that could be.
It's a theory.
That's why they're there. I mean, why they were in an abandoned old truck stop, I have no idea.
Yeah, right.
Michelle, we've had a great conversation, but I'm going to have to go soon. Tell me, other people who have these problems and I don't know if you consider a problem. For me, it'd be a massive problem because I'd be scared all the time. But any advice for people who dream like this often and are afraid to tell anybody?
Yeah, definitely. First of all, I'm a firm believer in like writing it all down. Write down all your dreams and everything that you're hearing because they're meaningful. And if it scares you, then contact somebody like maybe another psychic or a light worker or some kind of healer who can help you stop it, to ask it to stop. Okay. But if you want to go deeper into it, please reach out to somebody. Reach out to me. I can help you. Somebody who has a history of being able to, deal with this kind of thing, because it is really scary. And a lot of people just think it's, woo.
And can reach you through your Facebook page, I assume. They can message you through Sweet Home Oregon Sasquatch Research Group.
Yep, that's right. That's my Sasquatch group. And I also have a personal profile, Michelle Heaton. You'll find it on Facebook, and you can message me through there as well. I do check my messages often. So.
Well, I can testify to that. I sent you a text. I think we were talking that afternoon or something.
Yeah.
Well, Michelle, it's been great talking to you, and it's been really different from most people I talk to. Awesome. You've done something a lot of folks haven't. You have put nothing but positive feelings out on this.
I take it as a positive thing. It's really a gift, and I love to help people, and I'm going to use my gift, for good, not evil.
Well, I hope someday we can talk more about you helping folks cross over, because
absolutely, friends
of mine, I've heard stories from them. There's so much I'd like to talk about the end of life and beginning of the next one. So
it's a beautiful experience.
Well, we'll talk more later, okay?
Yeah.
All right, Michelle Heaton, thank you so much for being on, and we'll talk again soon. Don't go anywhere, okay? I'll talk to you after the show. All right, friends, you have seen so much here. Bigfoot, UFOs, ghosts. We never hit demons, which that's good. And again, I want to kind of get away from some of that, or at least play it down some until the Halloween funk is over. But hey, real quick, I do want to remind you to join the UNX network. It's as simple as getting to, the Unexplained network. I'll learn this. I just learned about this a couple nights ago. But yeah, the Unexplained network, you just get on www.unxnetwork.com, drop down a little bit on the front page. You can join there. You get so much out of it. You get shows like this, and we have so many. Michelle Roos, she's a ghost hunter and a sensitive and a demonologist. She's been once on my show, but she's got her own on the UNX network, and she's really good at what she does. There's also Bigfoot, a lot of shows on the cryptids, couple of ghost hunting shows, groups like mine, shows like this where they talk to others. There's so much going on out there, and all you got to do to join is get in. Now, plus, first off, you're going to get access to the blog, and that is just every day. It seems like we get something about the shows that's going to be on that night, or something about what's going on in the world. The blog has really been crazy lately with cryptids that fly, human shapes with wings that are seen flying around, angels or some kind of Mothman type thing. I don't know. They've been seen over the Missouri River down in Missouri and Kansas. One was seen trying to get into a tower in Las Vegas. It's so much going on there. Ghosts, witches, UFOs. We were really heavy on the Tic Tacs that were seen about a year ago or so, and all of that. So much going. You also get access to the magazine, which, if you're a member, it comes to you every other month by email. Got some great authors in there. These two, I happen to have an article in the one on the left, the dark one. I had two articles in that. One was about Halloween rumors, legends, like the old razor blades and the apples and the drugs and the candies and all of that. Every one of those had a basis in reality, and I discuss about that. And there's also one on there, a story of the battleship North Carolina, which is here in North Carolina, not far from me. And I used to be stationed right across from it when I was in the Coast Guard. So I've been in that one quite a bit, talked to a lot of good people. This one here I did just recently, it was March of this year, and it had a story in it I wrote about haunted dolls, which haunted dolls creep me out. And this one here on the last call at the Devil's Diner, which was a truck stop out on Route 66. I ghost hunted it many times. The last night it was open, and it was abandoned after that. Recently, it was hit by a tornado and basically destroyed, so there won't be any going back, and that's why I wrote that with a lot of what happened. So there's a lot of good authors who tell you things like the Halloween traditions and such as that, or their own experiences. We have a guy from Iron City Paranormal, does a lot on there. He's a good writer and got some great stories. So join up. It's easy to do. And I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here, friends. So you all do what I do, and do, unlike Michelle, guys like us, we stay spooked. Good night.